I don't know about you guys, but it's really hard to listen to Doctor Who theme and not get pumped up.
I hear you.
That just got me in the mood.
It does. Now I'm ready for the show. Entertain me.
I know, dude. I was thinking like, what should I use as an opening theme? Because originally we decided, this is gonna be a Doctor Who show, but let's give it a little wider scope. But nothing else I could think of would come close. So there you go. We have I guess that's the unofficial, official Matt Smith Doctor Who theme, right? Yeah, 'cause they've gone through a few iterations in the new series, slight iterations.
Yeah.
You're not helping me here, brother.
I know.
You're like, yeah, sure, whatever you say. So what's up, guys? Welcome to the Timey-Wimey tea time. Let's say team time. Timey-Wimey team time.
Tea or team?
Tea, like drinking
Okay.
tea. I don't know. See, I had it right the first time.
You
I
did.
didn't go with it. Didn't go with it. This is a pilot episode. I like to call the pilot episodes episode 0. And that's very fitting for sci-fi. Cause that's mainly what we're gonna be talking about. Doctor Who, sci-fi, and a little bit of creative writing. Stan and I are both writers, though Stan more than myself, because I'm a ghostwriter. That's considered the lowliest of the writers, authors work.
Oh no, man. You're just practicing your skill. That's what
well,
ghostwriting is.
well, to be fair, I guess gaming journalism might be the lowliest of the writing,
Yes, that's true.
or just journalism in general.
It's become that way.
Yeah, but no, ghostwriting is a nice way to play it safe. It's like, well, if it sucks, it falls on dumb, and I still got paid.
Right.
But the bad part is you
I
can't
want to
share
see
any
some of
work.
your writing.
Oh yeah, I can't share my ghostwriting stuff with you.
No, I want to see some new stuff. That's
Well,
that's why you got to get into the flash fiction because all you have to do is commit to at least a half page.
actually, now that you mention it, since storytelling is a big part of what we'll discuss, it might be a good time to talk about our storytelling section, or as you like to call it, the stories department. Makes it sound all official. We're not
Yeah.
quite that structured at the Geeky Antics Network. Which, by the way, if you're new to the stuff that we do, uh, my name is Yogizilla. I'm joined by Stan Farina,
Silent Stan.
Silent Stan. You can find us on the Twitters. The Twitters at Yogizilla. That's Yogi with an I, like the bear. Zilla, like Godzilla. Very easy. But some people still butcher it. It's like Yogzilla, Yerg. What? Your English is your first language, right? Come on, stop it.
How can they get that wrong?
I don't know. Farina's pretty easy too. At
Yeah.
Farina, it's Faryna.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah. I like to look at it as far.
Yeah,
Kind of like, or you could put some Spanish flair in it, like far ina.
I like that.
Farina. Farina, I don't know. Because Y is and in Spanish.
Uh-huh.
See what I did there?
Yeah, I like
Look at that. We already spent a good 5 minutes just talking about absolutely nothing. So you
it.
guys know we're setting the bar very high in this pilot episode. But yeah, no, that's what we like to do, and this is gonna be the format of this show. In contrast to most of our other podcasts that are exclusive to Geeky Antics Network, geekyantics.net, by the way, or that are syndicated on the network, this is not going to be very structured. We're going to kind of go off the cuff. We'll have topics to discuss, but we're not going to have segments or any of that stuff. So there's going to probably be some interesting derail moments and tangents and all that kind of good stuff. Like a good Doctor Who story.
Definitely.
So today, I think there was something else I was gonna say, and I completely went off on I went off on another tangent. That's what I do. Stan knows already, but we're gonna probably attract new people here, right?
Yeah, that's
'Cause-
awesome.
yeah, cause Doctor Who. That is a good thing to talk about as we go into our new segment, first not segment, our first topic. But before we go into that, Stan, you want to tell me a little bit about what you do?
What do I do?
What do you do? Or
I
you
don't
want to
know
leave the
what I
plugs
do
to later? I
now.
mean, it's an introduction time, so
Yeah, okay.
we have to assume
So
that people that are listening to this have no idea who we are, and why should they care? Why should they listen to these two jerk faces? I gotta be careful not to cuss, because we're gonna try to keep this G-rated,
G-rated.
family-friendly show here, folks,
Yeah.
for the most part.
So I don't know. I'm a former internet guy. I'm doing internet stuff for 20 plus years. And now I'm trying to be a sci-fi novel writer. That's my story. Sticking to it.
I like it. So yeah, about your whole thing about me writing and sharing the writing, I will. I don't actually don't have the fear of sharing my writing, because I beat myself up enough as it is. So when someone else does it for me, it's like
Dude, I'm sure you know, I've read your writing. I mean, I read your blog post. It's good writing. You don't have problems.
I don't have problems. I don't know about that. My better half might argue with you on that.
Really? Wow. We'll have
No,
to
but
straighten her out.
what's that?
Well,
You gotta
we'll have
straighten
to
her.
straighten her out.
Yeah, good luck with that. I've been trying for years. But yeah, actually, one of the ideas I was having recently, I've been having, it's come up many a time in my thought processes. I'm thinking about like doing dream transcribes kind of things, transcriptions. There we go. That's what I'm looking for.
That
I
sounds
can't talk
interesting.
tonight. Yeah, like because I had some really vivid dreams that would make perfect books or movies, and I'm like, man, where did I come up with that crackhead idea? And I try to think like, what was I watching or thinking about recently that influenced it? And it
Hmm.
wasn't like I watched Predator and all of a sudden I dream about being this creature that could turn invisible and kill people. You
Right.
know, it's like what? Where did that come from? You know, and I try to go back, like, what movies have I watched in the past 10 years? Because sometimes your subconscious digs up things that you haven't even thought about for a long time,
Sure.
consciously, right? But then all of a sudden it comes out in your dreams or a random thought, and you're like, where did that come from?
Right.
So I'd like to share that madness with you guys, but I don't know. I think once I do that, people are going to be like, wow, yeah, it's official. Yogi's crazy.
Nah, man, they're gonna love you more.
That's true, maybe, yeah.
Yeah. You
Unity,
gotta put it out there.
unity
Yes,
in insanity? Like, that's a thing.
exactly.
Not
Mad
for
genius.
mad geniuses, yeah, I like that. It's good. Or creators. I like the creators thing. Though the creator title, people might not like that because it seems presumptuous, and then
Lowercase c, man. Lowercase c.
yeah, lowercase c. You know, we don't want to be blasphemous or anything. But yeah, I think that's a that's a good idea. Not because I came up with it, but I haven't seen much like that out there. I know
Mhm.
people take their real experiences and thoughts and dreams and put them into their creative works, but to have something where you just take a dream and try to capture it as well as you can. Like you have to pretty much do it the moment you wake up or soon after. You know, brush your teeth,
Oh
take
yeah.
care of the dogs, or whatever. Whatever you do in the morning, get a pot of coffee going and get straight to it because the retention for dreams is like not very good for
Do
most
you have a
people.
smartphone?
Yeah, that's what I try to do. I try to
So
like,
you can record it right on the spot because if you wait, I've noticed with me, if I wait to think about a dream, if I wait like more than 30 minutes, it's gone.
yeah, the voice recorders are writers or any creative person. Like anything you do that's creative, if you have inspiration, keep that voice recorder handy.
Oh yeah.
I think voice recorders still have a place because I love my smartphone and it has the voice recorder app, but there's something nice about just pressing record right on the spot.
I hear you.
I gotta dig mine out because I used to do that all the time. Anytime I had an idea, I love post-it notes and notepads, but they're not always accessible. But a little small little, and I know that's redundant. People don't get convulsions. I know small and little mean the same thing. I do that sometimes. I don't know why. It's for emphasis. We'll call it
there was there was this
parallelism.
very cool Kickstarter that just ended recently, where they had basically a notepad, so there's nothing special, in a wallet, and I thought that was the coolest little thing because, yeah, because the notepad gets messed up if you're carrying it around with you.
Hmm, hmm.
So having a notepad inside a wallet, it's its own little wallet. That'd be a great idea for keeping track of your ideas. Of course, because I don't know. I think it's more fluid to write than to type. and it's obviously more fluid to just speak than to write.
Yeah. Well, as you know, I tend to be quite verbose, and when in the spoken word, I'm even worse. Written
So
word is
you,
definitely my best. So
uh,
when I tend to like write stuff and like speak into my voice recorder, I tend to just go on, and I'm like, oh, I gotta go back and listen to that. When you write bullet point, that's why I like post-it note because it forces you to be concise. Like,
right.
what's the action item? Like, what's the deliverable here? Let me focus on that. You know, I like to write things down when I do my bullet point list or the punch list, whatever you want to call them. I like to use the action word first because that's what
Uh,
empowers you, and then the goal. I think that's the best way to do it. And then avoid any adjectives or any other crap. You know, the clouds the focus. Like, what do I need to actually do? Let's get her done. Bam.
right.
But yeah, a little organizational tip there, and I think that applies to everyone, even if you're not a writer. But yeah, voice recorder is super handy. I got the last one I got is an Olympus that I think it records up to 8 hours. You know, one of those digital ones.
Wow.
Digital's great.
Uh-huh.
Problem is, I gotta find a darn USB cable for it. That's why I stopped using it because now I can
Uh-huh.
only use it as a standalone. No, actually, I have a USB cable, but it uses proprietary software.
Oh.
I need to
So,
check. I think there's a way to actually hack it, so you can just do drag and drop from it. So I'm gonna double check that. But there was a reason I stopped using it because I have the
mhm.
USB cable. It's like a standard micro USB or mini USB interface, but I lost the software for it and I never got it again. And they don't have it on the website or anything. It's like what? What is
Oh,
that? But the thing itself is great because you could bookmark recordings, so you could go to certain
right.
parts. You
That's
could
a great idea.
yeah, dude, you could fast forward it different speeds, and you could,
I
you know,
need to do that. I mean, I'm telling you to do it. I need to do that. I need to record my stuff because, yeah, I mean, I have a bunch of ideas and I'm like, oh, that's cool. And so I'll remember that. No, I won't.
yeah, 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 and then papers get piled away somewhere. The cool thing about the recording is it has a
I mean, I
longer
lose
shelf
stuff on
life.
my computer all the time.
Yep, yeah, but the recording is also cool too because it serves like as a capsule. There we go, callback right there. Timey-Wimey time capsule. There we go.
Yeah.
It's all coming together. But yeah, it's like a little time capsule. Because you go back and listen to that, you try to figure out like where was I at that point in my life. Oh wow, that's what I was thinking about. Why did I leave that idea? Was it just a bad idea and that's why I never gained traction, or am I just a lazy bastard? What happened there?
Right.
And that's how you can kind of bulletproof some ideas. If an idea keeps bothering you to the point where where you realize, all right, I need to take action on this. You realize it's a good idea and it's something you're really passionate about. Like this right
Right.
here. We've been toying around with the idea for a long time to do a Doctor Who podcast because there's not really not many out there. One of the ones I like is called the Kisturber's Doctor Who podcast,
Uh-huh.
and there's a couple other ones, but that's the one that I particularly like. And they're nice people too. They're very responsive and supportive of other Doctor Who fans and networks and whatnot. But it wasn't the kind of angle that I want to take with it because these people obviously are more well versed in Doctor Who.
They're like the encyclopedia.
Yeah, see, I'm terrible with trivia. My retention sucks. That's why I need to write
Uh-huh.
things down all the time. And even though I've been following, Doctor Who really hardcore since like the Tom Baker date. I mean, I watched the earlier stuff, like the black and white stuff, but
Hmm.
Tom Baker's the one that sold me on it. I mean, jelly beans in his pocket, scarf around his neck. I'm sold. And that snaz is so epic. How you can't forget that snaz. That's an epic snaz.
Yes, it is.
But but I just everything just gobbled up in my head. So it's like I can't remember all the major highlights of the timeline. I mean, if I try to even attempt to take the major events of all the Doctor Who's to date and put them into some kind of chronological order according to the order that it happens for us. The time
Right.
travel, well, that chronological kind of goes out the window. Yeah, good luck. That's not gonna happen. And Obi's in the house. Obi's
Yeah?
gonna be so lost because I try to get Obi to tune in to Doctor Who, but that was one battle I was not gonna win. By the way, Obi 1X2, he's my he's the other half. I don't want to say co-host because it sounds like I'm like the great like demoting him. We're mutual.
Oh,
We're mutual hosts. He's the other half of Horseplay Live, the flagship radio show for the Geeky Antics Network, which you can find at geekyantics.net. And he's got a couple other projects going on. But you know what? I'm not gonna plug everything right now. If you want to check us out, geekyantics.net, you go right there and do forward slash. Now there's someone that looks like it's falling over to the right. That's the way I remember it. Forward slash podcast. So some people are gonna get that, like, and other people will be like, I don't know what you're talking about. It looks like it's falling down to the right, like it's about to fall flat on his face, but it's going towards the right.
yeah.
I reckon that 50% of the people that you talk to will know which one's the forward slash and which one's the backslash. Maybe even less. I'm being generous there. It's probably far less. People confuse them all the time. But moving on, let's get to some Doctor Who talk. You ready for that?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
So, you know, the reason we started urgency and starting the show now, you know, we had to do the Timey-Wimey tea time because season 8 is about to start. And by the time this goes up on the podcast feeds and iTunes and Stitcher, if we could do that fast enough, probably not going to happen. But by the time it goes up into the ether of the internet, season 8 probably would have started already.
Have you seen the teaser? I have not.
I try not to tease myself.
Okay.
The puns, they're going to start. I can feel them.
Yeah, enough temptation, huh?
Oh, yeah. I can't help myself. But, so yeah, Saturday, August 23rd, 2014. So if you listen to this podcast in the distant future, just letting you know, this is where we're at right now. Today, what is today anyway? 20th? Yeah, so 3 days from now, basically.
Yeah.
3 days from now, season 8 will start with Peter Capaldi as the 13th Doctor? Is that what we're up to now?
Yep, I think so.
Guys, I lost track. And we're gonna get into what that means for the series and the direction we see it going in, if we can stay on topic. But you know, for those that don't know about Doctor Who, maybe you found this podcast looking for sci-fi stuff or creative writing stuff. You know, you wanted some inspiration for your writing projects, and you wanted to listen to something that, you know, would be fun, maybe not require too much cerebral effort, but maybe give you some creative nudges and some inspiration, right? Yeah, and I'm hoping that's what we do in the end, while also providing a little fanfare. So if you don't know about Doctor Who, or maybe you're one of those folks that kind of gave it a very cursory glance and then said, it looks kind of corny. We're gonna talk about what Doctor Who is all about and why we think it's a big deal, especially in the States, because I think if you're in the UK or just Europe in general, most people are into Doctor Who over there to some degree. At least most people I know.
Well,
is that
it's
fair?
it's part of their culture.
Yeah, so that's a fair assessment, right? It's not. I don't want to generalize. Some people, when you generalize, they're like, "Whoa, you can't speak for everybody." Yeah.
Come on, that's like saying that they don't watch Doctor Who is like saying that Americans don't watch The Walking Dead.
That's very true. We tend to be more into that morbid stuff. And I think people have to, you know, back to writing. I think, you know, when you're writing or you communicate, you know, you don't have to be so literal. I think if you try to be too literal, it's almost like you're condescending to your audience or the person you're speaking with, communicating with. Like, you have to spell it out verbatim. Like,
right.
You know, I tend to be verbose like that and really give all the fine details, but it's because I don't want there to be any loopholes where people will read something that's not really there. But like, there's some things I don't think you have to elaborate on. I think for the most part, if you say something that's not so much an absolute, but it's a broad stroke, right? I'm not saying the best or every time or or everything or all the time or everyone. I'm not using those kind of words, but I say, you know, most, or, you know, Europeans. If I say like something like Europeans like Doctor Who, I'm not assuming all Europeans or every single European.
English.
I'm saying in my experience, Europeans that I know like Doctor Who. Because what else can you speak from other than your own experience? Isn't that assumed?
Right.
You You know? Okay, that's a little mini rant for you. I already. I
So what
think.
is Doctor Who, man? Because there's going to be people listening like, what's Doctor Who?
What is Doctor Who? But I just wanted to point out that you lit a cigarette
Yes.
because I got you so excited with that rant. You're like, preach it, brother.
Yeah.
I said I can't take the emotion anymore. I gotta calm down. So Doctor Who, it's I would say it's the longest running serialized sci-fi
Yes, it
production
is.
out there, isn't it? 50
Yes, it
years
is.
and going.
Yes.
So it's a TV series of the science fiction persuasion that's been going strong. Now, it was canceled in 89, I believe, 1989. And then they tried to bring it back in 1996 with the made-for-TV movie, and that didn't work out quite well. And then in 2005, they kind of rebooted it, but they didn't because, well, it's not really a reboot. Let's not even say that. They just brought it back to life and continued where they left off, pretty much. But there was a little bit of retcon. Would you say that's fair to thing to say?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's continuity and creative liberties because they knew they had to adapt it to changing times. I mean, decades have passed.
Right.
Wow, literally over 2 decades.
And they
Wow.
couldn't cheap out on it like they, the older series was a low budget effort. It
Yeah.
was high quality in terms of story, in terms of acting and everything, but it was low budget, so they had to update that.
Well, and what's interesting, even though it's definitely a much higher budget production now, and it's hitting more of the mainstream, it still has that niche kind of feel to it and that campy aspect. I like the campiness, but some people hate that part. I think real Doctor Who fans like it because of or in spite of the campy element. I mean, what do you think, Stan?
Well, I'm nostalgic, so I like to see some of the campiness too.
But is it just
You know,
nostalgia? You think?
well, in terms of nostalgia, because, you know, the old shows were the old Doctor, the costumes were really bad. So, but the funny thing was, okay, the set was bad, the costumes was bad, there was non unspecial effects, but the story was somehow engaging, and the acting was somehow pretty awesome for what was going on. I mean, I got drawn into the story when I was a kid, which was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't need it to look right. I believed the acting.
Well, and there's a few interesting things to note there. I personally find that going back to those older productions isn't painful. It's a little slower, and you want to be wide awake,
Right.
obviously, because it takes a while to build up. I mean, like especially during the Tom Baker era, which is still my favorite. I would say, as David Tennant. We'll get into our favorite doctors too, but David Tennant comes pretty close for me. He had a good run at it too. Eccleston did not, but we'll get into that. I know that's something we'll go off on a tangent on.
Oh yeah.
But back in those days, the story arcs lasted a long time. Like they spread out
Oh
like
man, I
like
remember.
10 episodes or more
Yeah.
to finish the story. Like everything was a cliffhanger. Like, oh, how's he gonna get out of that jam? And oh man,
I
good old
hate that.
times.
I hate that. Well, it was all right for, they had those PBS fundraisers, and so they
Yes.
would show the entire arc of, a set of episodes, and that was awesome. But when you were watching it regularly on TV, oh, that was a killer. I think they
You.
did it in like 30-minute increments.
Yep. 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 30. It was a half hour, and it never felt like it was enough. So like, if you weren't watching the marathons, that half hour was brutal because.
You had to pay attention. Yeah.
Well, no, and you get into it just when it finally heats up. See you next week. No.
Do do do. You hear the music, the TARDIS music,
Yeah.
and it's like, ah, man.
Though I the since early on, PBS was doing it like daily. I mean, we experienced Doctor Who in a whole different way over here in the States.
Yeah.
So our memories of it are different. And to me, like when people say, "Oh, I don't watch Doctor Who; it's too mainstream for me," I'm like, "Huh? How's it mainstream?" Like when I run into people out here in the States, America, I tell them Doctor Who, they're like, "Yeah, I've heard of it." That's if I'm lucky. There's still people who haven't even heard of Doctor Who. Like it hasn't permeated pop culture, the mainstream, like people think it has.
How is that?
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
Because it's not reality television. It's not a game show. It's not like Jenny cheating on Jeff with Bob. You know, I don't know.
Right. Right.
That's the kind of stuff people watch. Like it's a shame. Like, and this is why I think Doctor Who is great. To me, Doctor Who is a bastion of hope. I don't watch much
Yes.
TV, but it's
Yeah.
good to know that there's still some quality stuff out there. Like, there's nothing wrong with stupid programming. I'll watch a reality show every now and then, like Pawn Stars, just cause for kicks. But it's not something I'm gonna turn to. Like, I know people that like the Wahlburgers, and I can see the appeal in that stuff. But it's not something I'm gonna be like, wow, this is the pinnacle of entertainment. No, that's stuff that I use when I just don't feel like changing the channel or I really don't want to use my brain. I don't know. So that's not something. That's not my go-to kind of stuff. No offense to anyone. But
So
Doctor
what's
Who is
awesome about Doctor Who?
it
Why should
makes
people watch it?
it makes you think.
Yes, it does.
Well, let's see. Before we get into why people should go into, because we're gonna share two lists, right? And you came up with these mainly, Stan. Though I
Oh
tweaked them a
man,
little
get it
bit.
together.
I don't know if you noticed, but okay. But I tweaked your list a little bit. So we're
Hmm.
gonna have 5 reasons why people don't like Doctor Who, from our perspective, of course, and then 5 reasons why people love Doctor Who. But before we get into that, I wanted to talk about kind of the evolution of the show over the years. A very quick rundown, because we could probably make an entire show about this.
All right.
So we mentioned that initially it was very campy, right? And you mentioned that growing up you didn't really care, and you didn't notice that the costumes were really bad and the set pieces were terrible, right?
Right, right.
But
It was serious science fiction, dude.
it was serious science fiction. But to
I
think that
mean,
this
it
show,
wasn't for kids. Even though it was made for kids, it wasn't really for kids, which is
right?
kind of weird.
Exactly. Like the very first stuff that came out, like I found some really old footage. These are like almost disowned episodes of the series because they're not really canon. They're just kind of like fun things, like Doctor Who meets Cleopatra, you know. And it was supposed to be like a Captain Kangaroo thing where kids learn about history, and it still has those elements. It incorporates the mythos of so many different things from different cultures, from a mainly British perspective,
Yeah, I remember
obviously.
when Hartnell visited the Aztecs or the Incas.
Yes. Oh, dude, you're giving me chills.
Oh
Yes. And again, it's a little that's a little painful to go back to because it's old black and white, very slow
yeah.
pace, very low budget. But it's really neat what they try to do with that even back then. But it's changed so much. It's like Stan said, it's become a lot more mature. I don't know if I would recommend it to kids, but it's good for all ages. I think people of all ages, especially now, could appreciate it for different reasons. But back then, and I'm gonna use Tom Baker era as frame of reference. That was some serious science fiction. And think about it now. There's a great void when it comes to science fiction shows. I mean, I could probably count all the science fiction shows that are worth watching on one hand. I like Defiance. I
Yeah,
almost what's that?
it's gone.
No.
No, I'm joking.
Why are you messing with me like that? I was pretty sure they're still doing season
I
2.
like Defiance. I was hoping for more.
Well, I mainly like Julie. What's her name? Julie Benz. I
Which
think
one was that?
the blonde girl that was the mayor.
Uh-huh.
I think she's such a cutie. I don't know why. She does it for me. Just putting it out
She's
there.
hot. She's hot.
Yeah,
There's a lot of hot women in that
there are.
series. I mean,
There are even the alien girl with the very strange head. I'm like, is she
She's got some
underage?
kink, huh?
She's got what?
She's
TNA?
got some kink, some
Oh.
alien kink.
she's got she's got the sass, you know.
Mhm.
Well, see now we were gonna talk about this because there's like this stigma towards sci-fi that supposedly sci-fi is only written for, or for many years has been this way. That it's been written for people, for straight males mainly. Oh, and I hate that. I hate that that's a thing. And so this is not a Doctor Who thing. This is in general. Like I noticed that women tend to lean towards fantasy. They like the vampires. Zombies not so much. They might like werewolves, but vampires, with most women I know, I can't even think of a woman that
Vampires.
doesn't.
Well, werewolves are getting more popular with women now.
Yes, they are. And but then when it comes to sci-fi, it's like, I don't know. I can't suspend my disbelief. Like what? You could believe people waving around wands and saying gibberish like Expelliarmus, you know, or people sucking blood from others to turn them into other creatures to do the same. But when you have science fiction that uses some kind of science to create rules and a believable atmosphere, you're like, that's a little bit of a stretch there, buddy.
Yeah, because it's not far enough for them.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I. That's how I see it. It doesn't take them far enough away.
So because it has that realism, they're judging
Exactly.
it like reality. That's a
Right.
very good point.
Unless it's a geek girl. A geek girl's gonna like science fiction,
Yeah.
you know. But in terms of a general female audience, I think it doesn't take them far enough away.
So we love all women. Just gonna
Yes.
share a little disclaimer, but I won't speak for you, Stan. But I love the nerd. I have extra love for the nerd and geek girls out there
Oh yeah.
because you understand our nerdgasms, and that's good. But so so the shows. I'm not even gonna talk about the whole evolution. Let's jump right into the reasons these lists we have. But I'm gonna say this before we jump into them. I would say that Doctor Who is good for anyone that will give the show a real try. Now you don't want to go back to the old stuff. You want to start David Tennant and up probably. I love Christopher Eccleston, but for a lot of people that I've been introduced to Doctor Who, even that's a little slow for them.
hmm
Which I don't get. Like I thought that very first episode was amazing. Like it really got me amped. That was the one they were being chased by like mannequins or something, right?
hmm
That was what a great opener, and the music. Even the music was great, but some people find that slow and it didn't intrigue them enough. But I would say anyone that gives this show a real chance, if you even remotely like science fiction, you're gonna like this. It has a little bit of historical references in there. It's got some mythology. They take all of that and weave their own mythos. Um, it's got laughs. It's got tears. It's got romance. It's got unrequited love. I mean, it's got
Adventure.
adventure,
Yes.
exploration. I mean, for the people that like space, deep space type stuff, outer space type stuff, space operas. It's got a little bit of that too, you
Yeah.
know. So it's just such a great show, and it even when it takes you to places you've been to before on the show, you feel like you're in a whole new place, and it's wonderful. Like it feels like home. It might feel like home, but it's still like what's gonna happen here. Like this, that constant feeling of intrigue. I feel. That's what drives me. What do you think, Stan? What makes you excited about it, and what do you think like would really get people to love it?
You have to fall in love with the Doctor. And so everyone, different people have their own favorite doctors.
Hmm.
One of my favorites is Tom Baker, and of course, Eccleston is going to be my choice for the new ones. But so you got to fall in love with the doctor, and once you fall in love with the doctor, it doesn't matter that much who plays him. And the act, and what we have to explain is, you see, the doctor changes, he regenerates, and when he
Spoilers.
regenerates, yes.
For well,
But we have to explain that because when he regenerates, the actor changes.
yeah, yeah. Well,
But
and you know that.
we still have to accept that it's him. So once you've fallen in love with him, it's okay, and you're gonna follow the story.
But I wonder if people knowing that going into the show, if that will take away one of the treats of like seeing the first regenerations and like being shocked by that. Like, oh, is he gonna die here? Don't tell me I got into the show and now it's over. Oh,
Well,
what?
now we never know when he's gonna regenerate. Whose contract is up when.
Yeah. See, that's the sad part. In the regeneration thing was something that they retroactively worked into the narrative because they had issues with retention, more so now than before. I feel like the previous doctors had much longer runs.
hmm
Um,
I think Tom Baker had 7 seasons.
yeah, that's a big deal.
That's a long run.
And you know, Eccleston, who we both love, only
Yes.
had 1 year.
Yeah, that was a bad deal.
Yeah, we might get into that in this episode. We'll see how we do on
You
time.
know, though, they could always go back to. They've never done that. They could go back to previous doctors if they re-signed them.
Yeah, like do some. I mean, yeah, I mean,
Well, I know Matt Smith wants to come back.
yep, he does.
So let's say Peter doesn't do it for us or anyone.
Peter,
Poor
you don't
guy.
quite do it, buddy. I'm sorry. You don't do it right.
Right, we could just, travel back in time and continue with the adventures of Matt Smith.
Well, and you know what else with time travel? What better narrative device is there than time travel? Because anytime you get to a place you don't like, let's travel back in time.
Exactly.
It's perfect.
I don't know why
Ah,
they haven't used it before.
yeah, no kidding. And you know, I will say that the because the show took such a hiatus, there are some continuity issues. I'm gonna reiterate that, but it's not so bad unless you're one of those people that has to completely tear something apart. If you just let yourself enjoy the moment, even some of the ridiculous stuff, you will enjoy the ride that Doctor Who has for you. Who you know, it's not so much who's this show for, but it's more like who's it not for. If you're someone that doesn't like smart comedy or things that make you think, or emotional roller coasters, then if you don't like any of those things, then you may want to stay away from it. And if you don't like fun shows that aren't reality shows, then Doctor Who is definitely not for you.
Was that a slam?
Reality television is like the bane of popular media. But you know, I'm glad it came around because now I watch far less TV. It's just so bad. It's like, you know,
Reality TV for those who lack imagination.
yes, reality TV for those that want to live in a false reality. Like reality television is anything but that. It's
Right.
worse than porn. If people slam porn, it's like porn is bad because it makes people think of things in ways that are not realistic. But then they watch reality television, it's like this is not how real life happens. I'm sorry.
No.
You know, it's bad. It's freaking porn for people that don't want to think. It's bad. And you know, and escapism is great. That's why people like myself and Stan and other awesome people that are over at Geeky Antics. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I'm gonna plug the crap out of that. I'm gonna brainwash
Oh,
everybody.
hell yeah. Heck,
But
heck,
you know,
heck yeah.
we want people. Remember, Stan.
I know.
We're G-rated. We're G-rated.
Right.
We're
That's
trying to
right.
keep family
Okay.
friendly. It's
That's
alright.
right.
I'll edit it out.
Okay.
You keeping track of time? But
No.
at 47 minutes, Stan cannot help himself. Thanks, Stan. Now I gotta edit. Thanks, Obama. I'm kidding. It's not a big deal. This is a pilot episode, so it's no holds barred. But
Man, they're showing the video of the American getting beheaded. Is that PG now?
yeah, I know. It's funny that we're so desensitized to violence, but then when someone drops an F bomb or S bomb or the N bomb, it's like, whoa, okay, that's where we draw the line.
Right.
You know, kids running around giving people random punches in the back of the head and going surprise. That's
Ugh.
cool. But you start cussing. Oh, no, 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 can't do that. That's not nice. I don't know. Priorities, people. But like, the point I was trying to get at is that creative people, creative engineers. I like that word too. I know you don't like
It's
it much,
good.
but we tinker and we make things. We make little inventions for people to enjoy. But we expect people to escape into the world. It's an escapism, right? Especially in any kind of fiction, right? But it's one thing to escape into a fictional world knowing it's fiction. It's another thing escaping into a world that's fictional and pretending that it's real because you don't know any better, or you're just that
No,
sad.
you said it because you don't know any better.
you know, uh, that's
Testify, dude.
it's got its place, but
Preach it.
I think that's a good contrast because the folks that don't like smart kind of programming, they're not gonna like Doctor Who. I'm not saying you're dumb if you don't like Doctor Who, but and that might be a contributing factor. Just saying that, or you have to be a kind of a snob because there, like I said, there are glaring issues with it. It's not a perfect show. I mean, 50+ years running, there's gonna be some fumbles along the way. That's to be expected. I mean, there's shows that do that in just one season of running. So
I wonder why, now you mention it. I wonder why that, you know, those of us who consider ourselves geeks or nerds or, off the beaten path, why why I don't know why we took to Doctor Who. It's kind of, I don't know.
well, there's nothing. There's
What's in
nothing.
Doctor Who that appealed to us?
There's nothing quite like it.
Yeah, sure, there's nothing quite like it. And yes, it's a little bit intelligent. It's not over your head intelligent. I mean, they don't say things that confuse you. I mean, the doctor is a time lord. He understands things like space and time, and he talks about it like, oh, that timey-wimey thing. So they don't try to confuse you,
yeah, it doesn't take a
you
tone
know.
of being condescending.
Right.
Like it's not the kind of smart show where it's trying too hard to make you feel dumb. That's
Exactly.
the kind of smart I like, and I hate that kind of intelligence. That's the misuse of intelligence.
Yes.
Like I was at a Twitch channel the other day, and someone used they googled something to find the definition of a phrase. I think the phrase was "I'm Audi 5000." Right. This is something that they use in the hood, quote unquote.
Okay.
It's quite ebonical.
All
I'm gonna
right.
make that a word.
Ebonical.
But they looked it up. They googled it and it said this is a colloquialism, and they're like, well, what the hell is a colloquialism? And like, well, vernacular. Basically, the everyday person speak, the mainstream speak, the common folk speak. Things that have been accepted into the language because the masses have accepted it. You know.
Right.
But then this other dude had to go in there and say, give a textbook definition, and he was like, I fucking. Now I did it. See, Stan? Well, I'm
It's
quoting.
contagious, man.
He said
Good
I
quote.
nailed it. I was like, good for you. You just proved that you're a total jerk.
Right.
I don't know how long we can keep this show G-rated. There's gonna be a lot of bleeping. Post-production, baby. Of course, the uncensored version will be the video. This will be going up on YouTube. It'll be up on Twitch when we stream it live. And yeah. I hope you guys are having fun. This wasn't originally supposed to be a live show, but welcome to everybody that's there. Obi did not last very long. Obi was here. He's like, oh, this
You
is
took
way
it up
too
a
smart for
notch.
me right now.
Oh man.
Huh?
You took it up a notch, man. You made it live.
I did. Obi's like, no, no, I can't do this. It's too late for this thinking stuff. I'm gonna watch some Wahlburgers. BFT's like, let it flow. That's right. And we're still. This is a pilot episode, and we might even have a series of pilot episodes until we find a format that works best. So we don't know if we're gonna keep doing it live, but if you like that, you guys could always call in. Our network's voicemail hotline is 206-415-4987. And again, you can also email us actually at mail@geekyantics.net, and that'll reach me, and I'll disseminate the message to whoever needs to get it.
Awesome.
That's the proper word, right?
Yeah.
But let's get out. Let's move on with these lists. You wanna start this up, Stan?
All right. So the 5 reasons why people don't like Doctor Who. Of course, became.
I
You
gave
say it. You
I
say
gave
it.
you the troll material.
Yeah, you did.
Well, hey, I already sounded like for people that are just getting to know me through this podcast, they probably thought I was a real douche for what I said. Like, wait, I like Doctor Who and I like those other shows. What are you trying to say? And I'm not generalizing. I'm just saying that if you mainly watch reality television and sitcoms, maybe
Game shows.
game shows, chances are you're not into science fiction. That's just how it tends to work out,
Yeah.
in my experience.
But there is. So one of the things about science fiction is that it's not just simply escape into fantasy. Great science fiction deals with real human problems
It does.
in an abstract way. So if you're not getting the abstract aspect of it, yeah, it's not going to appeal to you. But if you can see that, great science fiction will deal with the things that are weighing on our hearts. So that is there, And maybe people don't initially see that when they think about science fiction. They think, oh, science fiction, sharks with laser beams, pew pew. But
Well, that's a very good point because I've heard on a lot of podcasts that deal with television shows and movies, or I've seen think tanks where writers get together and share their thought processes and the creative process with people. And then one of the things that often comes up is the whole debate about sci-fi versus fantasy. We know textbook answer what the definitions are, but what does that really mean? And then, of course, for sci-fi fans, it always comes down to the everlasting freaking Star Wars versus Star Trek, which is better? And it's kind of a moot discussion because Star Wars is more fantasy than it is sci-fi.
sure.
And really they're both great for their own reasons. But the thing about that is that what you said, Stan, is right on point because sci-fi is grounded. It gives us a frame of reference that helps us ground the story so that we can relate to it better than most fantasy things. With fantasy, to make a fantasy story really work, because so many things tend to be really off the wall, what makes it work is the character development. If we don't fall in love with the characters, then there's nothing for us to connect with.
Right.
And it's just a series of really crazy events, And then there's other ways you could probably do that. You could probably bang your head against the wall or get drunk if you're of legal age to do that, of course. But that's something I think is very important to know, and I like that about sci-fi is that there's rules in place and there's familiarity enough that you could ease yourself into that world and immerse yourself in it. But carry on, Stan. I didn't mean to.
All right,
I went
so
off on a
do the
tangent.
troll material. So
Yeah, you can run through it quick.
all right, number 5. Why people don't like Doctor Who. It requires imagination and intelligence to appreciate. Bum.
Well, see, I softened the blow for you because I already
Yes,
said that one before.
you already went through it. All right, number 4. It can be a bit too campy for some. So, yeah, you already covered that, Number 3. The Doctor's passive nature may turn off. What the heck does that mean?
he's pretty non-violent.
Yes, he is.
You know,
I know what you mean.
he's got a code. You know, and
He doesn't
just
have a gun.
yeah, he's not going pew pew, like you just said. You know, there's a lot of scenarios that, and that's part of the brilliance of it. And I know I'm jumping ahead to the reason why people love it, but it's a good segue. You know, the brilliance of it is that there's situations where you're like, oh, if he just like created a bomb and blew up the whole planet, there wouldn't be a problem anymore. If he just created a laser beam out of that doohickey he has, then he could just shoot him in the head and run away. You know, there's a lot of situations where you're like, well, you know, he could probably figure out a way to just end things much easily, much more pew pewish. I don't know.
Right.
You know.
Well, that's the thing. That's one of the special things about the Doctor is it's not about an eye for him.
It's not.
So there's a problem. There's some evil thing going on, and someone's doing evil, and he's not going to just take him out with a headshot and it's over. No, because the Doctor sees the intrinsic value of life, and he would like to convince that evildoer, you know, to do something else. And he tries. He tries to have a conversation. Now, it never works out, but he's always trying. And
Yeah.
that's something that's very special about the Doctor.
He tries to. I think he's always been like that too, but
Yes, he has.
more so in the 2005
Right,
onward,
right.
because of the events that we become privy to as you watch the series go on. Which, by the way, that whole underlying story, I don't want to spoil it, but the things that really led him to be more passive, you know, and rely on non-violent methods. That whole thing comes to a resolution, and it really worked out. They plug up all those holes and answer all the questions pretty well, I would say. But all that to say that he has that code that he lives by, right?
Right.
And that creates tension because he has to find creative ways to get around challenges and
And it
obstacles.
puts him and whoever's with him at risk because he has to take the time to figure it out and figure it out in his brain.
And he processes information faster than humans do,
Right.
and he still gets challenged. But the other thing too is that the people around him don't necessarily live by the same code.
Oh, right, right.
So that creates conflict, and conflict is, you know, at the heart of any good story. So it's a great dynamic, and again, for some that might be the turnoff. It's like, his greatest weapon is his intelligence.
Right.
We'll get into that. That's in the next list. I'm about to jump ahead here. But
Okay.
some people they look at that part and they're like, whatever.
Right. So number two, Doctor Who is not a top-notch Hollywood production. So the bells and whistles aren't as shiny and sweet as we're used to seeing in most American TV shows.
Yeah, that could be a blessing in disguise, though.
That could be because we don't have to have $1 million budgets to appreciate a story.
And it also ensures that the series will likely run much longer.
Oh, that may be why they've had 50 years.
Exactly. Hey, American TV producers, take note. Don't blow your load on one season. It's gonna get canceled, and then you lose a job. And then everybody
Exactly.
else loses their job. What's number one on the list of
Number one,
five reasons why people don't like Doctor Who? So what's number one?
the actors are not super pretty.
Did you put these in? You put these in order?
I did.
Are these really in order? Wow, this is your
No.
countdown, your Casey Kasem
Yeah.
countdown, dude.
So the Doctor is never a ideal physical specimen of a male, and his female companions, well, that's arguable, but they're rarely presented as ideal physical specimens of a female.
Well, I think
They have average looking people in the show.
I think that the girls that they have on the show are Doctor Who hot.
Okay.
Like in that world, they are the hotness. That's what I'm saying.
You know, I was once watching Doctor Who with a Romanian friend, and he was like, you know, there aren't any pretty girls in England. What's up with that?
See, you know, and
But that was unfair because Romanian women are extraordinary, can be extraordinary. So that was a little bit unfair. No,
yeah.
obviously, no. I even looking back at the old series, um, you know that. So the companions, which are the ladies that travel with the Doctor, um, they're not made to be sex bombs. They're not presented as sex bombs. So their actual real looks are downplayed
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
purpose of the show.
Well, and I think that to me, that girl next door hotness is hotter than like super caked up makeup and perfect body and plastic
Exactly.
surgery and all
Well,
that
yeah,
stuff.
I mean Rose, Amy Pond, that's it, you know, they're the girl next door. That could be a model if they dressed it up.
Well,
But
the girl that played Amy Pond, Karen Gillan,
yeah,
she was model,
yeah, exactly.
and I see some of her stuff. Ooh, boom,
Yeah.
good stuff. You know, but you know, regardless of the physical aspect, you know, that's probably gonna that number one might be a turn off to some of the dudes out there, the bros. But see, like for me personally, I mean, I like the girl next
It'll be
door
a turn
better.
off to women too.
Like I don't like a
Although
girl
although the
that's
last couple of doctors, well, you know, Tenet, it was Tenet. I don't know.
the ladies
Some of the doctors
swoon.
have been kind of cute.
The ladies swoon over Tennant.
Yeah, that's
He's
what I
got
was
those
saying. Yeah.
boyish good looks, and people
Right,
like
right.
they like Matt Smith too because he looks like that jawline makes him look like he could throw down if he had to. He's got that Neanderthal
But
thing going on.
Eccleston is not pretty at all.
You know,
He's not rugged. He cannot even say he's ruggedly handsome. He is an awesome actor. You know, we can get into that. You know.
Eccleston has Dumbo ears, but he's got a like you know. Obviously, men are not my thing, but I could look at him and say, you know, if I was a girl, I think I could go for you. He got an appeal to you. He's got something to him.
He has things like he has a commanding presence. You know,
He's got what the
we
kids
both
call
agree
this.
with that.
That's what the kids call the swag.
Yeah,
That's more vernacular for you.
but it's not a raw sexy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, he's not a dumb sexy guy, and the doctor is not a dumb sexy guy.
He's not. Yeah, he's not meant to be. His
No.
appeal is his charm. The fact that he's worldly, not even worldly. He's universally. Is that even a thing?
Yeah.
Some people are like, I'm
He's
worldly.
universal.
No, I've been around the whole universe. What's up?
And outside of it.
Yeah, and outside of it, he's been through time and space.
Hmm.
Yeah, no one could beat that. That's instant appeal. Wow, he really is well traveled.
Right.
You know, and he's quite for the most part he's quite diplomatic. Like that's one of the things he tries to employ is his skills of diplomacy to kind of diffuse situations before he has to throw down. Like, well, you forced my hand. Now I
Right.
gotta get some real Doctor Who action going up in here, yo.
So
Yeah,
go for it, man.
yeah, that's what you're waiting for, I think. Okay.
Why do people love Doctor Who?
So this is the next list.
This is all yours, man.
5 reasons why people love Doctor Who. But this one's not in order.
No.
But I'll count it down anyway.
Okay.
Number 5, the Doctor. You know what? Nah, I'm gonna try to put some kind of order because that one really
That's like number one.
Is it number one?
Yeah.
Yeah. At least that one has to be at the end.
Yeah.
And then we'll do. This is like some inside baseball for you guys. I'm editing the show notes while we're live. This is how the pros do radio.
This is how Doctor Who does it.
That's right. He had no concept of time, not the way we do. We mere mortals. All right. Number 5, and this is gonna be. Hopefully, everybody will forget this or not tune into this episode. But this is gonna be one of the questions. It's gonna relate to one of the questions we're gonna have in our upcoming quiz or quizzes. Thanks to Theater Jeff, who we were hoping would join us, but I guess he's MIA. Hopefully, we'll get him on an upcoming episode. But number 5 is the Doctor is an expert cheesemaker. In fact, by the way, there's a little sidebar in Series 6. It was revealed that he has a PhD in cheese making. So he's both a medical doctor and a cheese doctor. For real. I'm not making this up. Go back and check it out.
You think he has goats hidden on the TARDIS? You know?
That thing is huge.
Make some goat cheese.
Well, you know, it is bigger on the inside. And there's we saw finally. Wow, and it was really season 7 or series 7, whichever way you prefer saying it. We Americans tend to say season. That sounds better to us, right? But it was really revealed just how big the TARDIS is. And by the way, the TARDIS is his vehicle / time machine. And it stands for what is it? Time and relative dimension in space.
Yep.
It's a really cool thing. It looks like a police box that might throw some people off, but there's a reason for that. It's kind of camouflage because it's something that people would not think twice about when they see it sitting around. Except it's a little out of place in this day and age. The way they explain that now is that it has a psychic kind of camouflage on top of that. So the Doctor sees it as a call box because that's what he likes, and he's really
a British police call box.
A British police call box. Thank you.
Well, we're not. We don't see that here in the States. So
yeah, that's true.
So it works better in England because they all recognize that. But for us, we're like, no, what's that?
Well, I think the closest thing we had to it was the old telephone booths with the little folding kind of accordion doors. Remember those?
Oh, uh-huh.
Those didn't last too long. What a terrible idea. Let me put this thing out here in the middle of nowhere in the darkness. That's not going to cause any trouble. By the way, number 4, moving along. The Doctor's charming without being the usual pretty boy or perfect being that heroes are usually portrayed as, right? And I put in parentheses, i.e., we'd go gay for the Doctor. Maybe. I mean, there's times when he's so charming and brilliant, and man, this is a man's man. For us geeky nerdy types. What's that?
He can be a bro.
Why can't he be a bro?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, if they ever picked a bro, muscle bound, jockey type dude.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, just be a bro. Yeah, I'd like to hang out with him.
Oh, yeah. But it's funny when you say...
I don't know if I want to play pussy with him.
You just ruined my joke. Thanks, Sam.
Oh, sorry.
Thanks, Obama. Janelle, number 5, tuning into our geeky podcast.
Hey, Janelle.
I would totally get Janelle in on this.
You should.
I don't think she likes sci-fi or Doctor Who.
No, she loves it.
She loves it? She's been hiding it from me. Her best friend ever. I'm exaggerating, but we love her. She's part of the gang over at our network. And a very active Twitch streamer. So you guys check out her channel. Janelle NO5. That's Janelle with 1 L. Just like it sounds. Spell it out phonetically. Anyway, moving on. Number 3 on the list here. He is compassionate and caring, even with enemies. He could totally just smite his enemies, but he always, almost always shows mercy.
He wants to. He's trying so hard.
Yeah.
Doesn't always work out, but.
Well, sometimes it's kind of like give them enough rope to hang themselves with, and if they don't take the
Exactly.
way out, then well, I did what I could.
Right.
She loves sci-fi. Well, you need to join this call. This is our pilot episode. We need some more flavor up in here. Because people are probably tired of listening to my Puerto Rican craziness.
And Silent Stan doesn't talk enough.
I like your interjections, though. I like when we overlap ideas, too. That's very professional.
Yes.
Some people call that clippy, but no, we call it overlaying.
There you go.
It's a professional technique, guys. Trust me.
Oh, you'll love Doctor Who, you know.
Oh, so this would be a project here. Janelle could get into Doctor Who and come back to us and give us a fresher take on it. That's always great.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I love about Doctor Who is when you have people that join it at different times, and you compare your feelings to their feelings and other people's love and appreciation for the show and the entire universe. Because there's books, there's audiobooks, there's not well, I already said books, well, novels, not books, same thing. They got little short films. I think they got webisodes. There's all kinds of stuff out there. There's fan fiction. There's a whole universe of it, and then people discover all this stuff. And there's video games, and they enjoy it for different reasons.
Hey,
and you can share that love with
there's
each other.
Time Lord cosplay.
Dude, aw, cool. So that's a future thing. Let us know what your schedule looks like, Janelle, and for future episodes. Even if you just catch, part of the season, you can share your experience with us on the show.
Maybe we could watch some episodes together somehow.
Yeah, that'd be so good. But
That would be awesome. I would love that.
Google's the devil, and I understand why they have to do it, but and as long as we're on the
We
Twitch
could do it off
ecosystem,
of Twitch.
yeah. There's ways around that. We had to set up some kind of way. Maybe we could get BBC to like give us some kind of rights here in the States. Cause they're not really licensed in the States. I don't think anyone's picked up that license officially. I think there's ways around that, but I don't know how that all works out. Oh, I saw that stand in the chat, and are you having tea for reals? Are you having tea for realsies? Nice. Well, Jenna, hang on for a little while. Keep us company. We're not gonna be at too much long, I don't think. By the way, so this was originally my number one.
I would love that,
But I'm gonna keep this at this is number 2 right now. Okay, I agree that the real number 1 that we have there now is right. But number 2, Outer Space. Enough said. This is supposed to be like a drop the mic moment, just walk away. Like,
we don't have good outer space stuff going on right now, do we?
Nope, nothing I can think of. Firefly was pretty much the last thing I could really think of.
How many years ago was that?
Over a decade ago, believe it or not.
Dude, and people are still talking about it. So that's how big the hole is.
Exactly. And around that same time there were things like Lex and Andromeda. Farscape came before Firefly. That was great. But that's like really, if you think about it, that's really all it's been. And then as far as shows go, then there's like the Star Trek movies, which are good. But there's still a huge void there, I feel.
Especially on TV.
Mm-hmm. It's sad. But number 1 on the list of reasons why people, particularly us, love Doctor Who. The Doctor is an intelligent champion. He's basically Batman. He's equipped for every situation, except his solutions are more believable, than Adam West Batman, where he just happened to have every kind of anti-venom and gadget necessary on his utility belt. It's like, wait, you've never used that gadget before, but you happen to have it on you right now. I wonder if Batman ever forgot his keys at home. Like, is Batman ever unprepared?
He probably had a smartphone app to locate his keys.
Yeah, that's true. He's got tracking devices on everything. Go ahead, steal my wallet. You'll see what happens next. But yeah, that's really, I think that is number one. I mean, it was a close tie with the outer space aspect. Cause that's definitely a big thing there too. Space and time travel. I mean, you can't beat that. That's a 1-2 punch. But
Yeah.
to have an intelligent champion, someone that could be an everyday person, but then he's just boom, he just wows you every time. It's like wow, just when you think he can't get cooler and do more awesome things, he does. He just goes further. Love it. That's our little list. If you have different opinions, you know you could always leave us a voicemail and or tweet us at Farina at Yogizilla, and the network is at Geeky Antics on Twitter. So that's probably the best way to reach us. At least for me, I'm most responsive on that. Facebook and not so much. But we do have a Facebook page. Just, if you want to look that up, Geeky Antics. There's a theme. There's a recurring theme going on here. I don't know if anybody's caught on yet. Have you? Yeah,
GeekyAntics.net.
exactly. So some of the other things we have planned for tonight, and we're almost at an hour and a half. So we were gonna talk.
Wow. Are you serious?
Well, we took like 5 minutes prepping,
Yeah, that's fine.
but
We did
so
it.
we're in an hour and 15. But some of the other things we were looking to talk about tonight, and we'll see what the mood is at. But we're looking to talk about the 50th anniversary episode, which was the Day of the Doctor. Kind of talk about some of the stuff on there. I'd like to get a roundtable discussion on that, but we'll give you some previews. Like we're gonna talk about some of
Thank
the.
God for that episode, dude.
Oh gosh,
Because I was losing faith.
really?
Yeah.
Well, it's funny that they had to tie everything up in a special.
Right.
Like a special usually is a saga, it's a side story,
Yeah.
but they made a special that was really essentially a movie that finally answered all the questions we've had for 7 seasons at that point.
Right.
But yeah, I wasn't losing faith, but I was like, wow, how long are they gonna drag on all these like underlying themes and these
Buffy
questions?
stories.
Dude, and I'm trying to dance around it. Have a good
Okay,
night, Janelle.
Buffy wannabe stories.
Yeah. I mean, they had a lot of great story arcs in there, but like the main thing,
Good night,
obviously,
Janelle. Go
the,
for it. Sorry.
the main thing, and I'm not gonna get too into it because I don't want to spoil it for people, that haven't watched it yet. Because this episode is gonna serve as kind of crash course in Doctor Who, and hopefully our passion for it will rub off, you know. But then this point after this episode, we can't promise that it'll be spoiler free. Just gonna put that
It's
out
gonna be
there.
hard.
It's gonna be really hard, yeah. But we'll try to give a heads up during the show and be like, all right, spoilers coming up, so you could brace yourself. But really, the reason we're saying thank goodness for this 50th anniversary episode, the title, the Day of the Doctor, is because it finally addresses the origin story fully, right?
Yes.
And it explains what you could really say is the core conflict, the thing that really needed resolution. Because if that conflict was not resolved, the Doctor, as we knew him, was going to be a hot mess.
Yeah.
Because he was kind of falling apart, right? Would you say that?
Yeah, I think he was losing a sense of identity.
Yeah, because so if you really look at it, there's 3 Doctors to date. We have the Christopher Eccleston Doctor, which is the 10th Doctor. We have the 11th Doctor, which was David Tennant, and then the 12th Doctor, which is portrayed by Matt Smith. And the first season, which is the only season that Eccleston did appeared, that was a very short-lived 10th Doctor.
Hmm.
And that was basically just because he didn't get along with people. We'll probably get into that gossip at some other time. But because there's actually a story behind it that's actually come up. But his whole thing was that he kind of had a memory lapse. You remember that?
No, I don't.
And maybe I misunderstand some of this. I have to go back to it. But I recall that there were some things of his past that were a blur. and at some point there's a revelation or a reassimilation. Like the way it usually works when he freshly regenerates, usually he loses a certain part of himself. And it's
Right.
like he's a kid all over again, right? So the way he ages is with experience, and then things start coming back to him, and there's kind of a symbiotic relationship between the Doctor and the TARDIS. And the TARDIS kind of passes wisdom and knowledge and experience onto him over time. It doesn't overload him with it because it'd be too much to take in at once. Which is also why they explain how a human cannot absorb even the slightest essence of the TARDIS, supposedly, because it'd be too much knowledge for a feeble human mind.
Right.
You know. So, yeah, see, I know a little bit of my Doctor
Spoilers.
Who. Yeah. Why did I go into it? So, but I know a little bit of my lore. I'm trying to stay spoiler free though.
Right. You're doing a good job.
It's hard to dance around it, but yeah,
Yeah.
50th anniversary episode, amazing. You feel the same way, obviously, right?
Yes.
It was a good like what, an hour and a half or more.
Yeah, at least.
It was a feature film.
Yeah, it was.
I mean,
No, and they
suffice.
did a great job. I mean, my expectations were met, and that's a tall order.
I mean, you have to imagine 50 years, and you're a writer that's relatively new to the universe. You're familiar with it because you follow it. You followed
Right.
it throughout your life. But for you as a writer, it's new. So you have to try to patch together all these storylines and expectations that people have for the show and make it all work together
Right.
alongside what you have envisioned for the show as well. That's a tall order, and obviously, people are hard to please. We humans are pretty fickle creatures. But I think that with the 50th anniversary episode, and by the way, I want to rewatch it, and I'm hoping to do a blog post on it and have first impressions as if I never watched it again. Like I want to
Why don't we
experience
watch it together, dude?
watch it together at the same time.
Invite some other people to join us. Get Janelle in there.
Ooh, that might be an
You
activity. Then we
know?
could get a blog post going, and then
Oh
get people
yeah.
to comment on it, dude. That's something to look forward to. So keep an eye on our Twitter feeds. We'll work that out. If anybody's interested, let us know. That'd be cool. Watch that. It's an hour and a half. It's basically a feature film. We'll hook you up with a way to watch it that may be legit or not. But
Can't you do that with live stream?
I gotta
Can
look
you?
into it.
Okay.
There's lots of streaming services out there, but I don't know. Oh, there is one that our friends over at the All Games Network, Cat and Fox, used to watch anime with everyone.
Awesome. Okay.
It's kind of like a Netflix thing where you can all watch things together. Sort of.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, the Netflix on the like on the Xbox 360 has the group viewing thing where everybody can go in a group together and watch the same thing.
Hmm.
It's like a virtual movie theater. That's pretty cool. We need to have more things like that. There.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good plan. We'll do that. But what I was trying to get at was that this episode did such a good job of satisfying the longtime fans. Tons of fanfare. I mean, it had at least, I know people identified at least 30 or 35 different Easter eggs in there. There's probably a lot more than that. Which is awesome on its own. But then for the newer fans, it just brings such a sense of closure without that sense of things coming to a close. Like you still see so much more potential for the future of the series. So it's such an inspiration, so encouraging. It makes you just really
And they had Tom Baker, man.
oh,
They
man.
had Tom Baker.
that
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 was
oh god, yes. The fourth Doctor, Tom Baker, a man who will always hold a special place in my heart.
That
I'll be so sad when he finally passes
sexy
on.
curly red hair,
Oh god, yes. And the nose.
man.
And the thing is, he knows his nose. His nose is crazy huge, but he's such. He just strikes me as the guy that's like really down to earth and doesn't take himself that seriously. Like he pokes fun at himself, so like he pokes his nose at like who knows. Did you catch that when he goes that scene? He goes, "Who knows?"
Yeah.
And he pokes his nose. Little things like that, little touches like that. Like some people might say they're corny, but I think it's just brilliant. And it's just a great storyline. And seeing this is gonna be a spoiler. Spoiler. 3, 2, 1. So spoiler, right? We have multiple doctors crossing paths due to time travel in here. And things get very interesting because even if you've been watching for a long time, you're like, wait, so when does this episode fall into the grand scheme of things? And when we watch this part of this season, did these events already transpire? Oh gosh, my brain's gonna explode. Season 7 and I think even season 6 were like that too because we had the whole thing. More spoilers, obviously. Brace yourselves. River's Song's timeline and the Doctor's timelines going in opposite directions. The time travel thing can make your brain hurt, no matter how smart you are. But that's part of the fun, right?
Yeah.
But that 50th anniversary was such a great homage to the entire series. And if you're new to this series and you get up to that point and you're still not sold on Doctor Who, then I don't think anything can do it for you.
Do you think someone who hasn't seen Doctor Who can jump into the 50th anniversary and love it?
I think they could, honestly.
I mean, because that would be a great introduction to everything
See, that's a very good point. I want to go backtrack real quick because you said earlier that you need to find the Doctor
that you love.
with whom people can relate, right? So
Yeah.
that not so much the one that you love personally, but the one you
Right.
think your friend will appreciate. And if you don't know your friend that well or can't make that decision, then
Right.
tell them the one that you love and why you love them.
Right.
And give them the breakdown. Let them have the option. But I feel it's very fair to say. I mean, again, Eccleston only had one season, so you could almost skip that season, almost. But there's gonna be a lot of references. You see, like, that's a good thing about the series too. It's very episodic, but then there's also underlying story arcs as well, or branching story arcs. So there's the episodic, conflict that's resolved episode to episode or across 2 or 3 episodes, and then there's these recurring themes and issues that we have to come to terms with and resolve eventually, right? Things that unravel, better yet. So that's a great combination. So you can enjoy each episode on its own, but when you watch it in as a series, as it's intended to be, it's even better. So that said, I think people could jump into it, but they probably would want to at least start with, if not Tennant, Matt Smith and up.
Right. Okay.
Because I think they do a pretty good job of making callbacks to previous episodes a little bit. They do a pretty good job of sprinkling in what happened in the past. Like the whole Queen Elizabeth thing, remember?
Right.
Like that was a kind of ongoing running gag.
Yeah.
Why does he bring up Queen Elizabeth or Queen Mary, whoever it was?
Right. And the werewolves.
Yeah. And then there's like, why is she so pissed off at him? Then you find out they had a fling and all this stuff. Like, whoa, the Doctor has been naughty. There's more to his past. So stuff like that really adds some flavor to it. So yeah, you could enjoy it on its own, but I would definitely say don't cheat yourself out of at least watching in a couple of seasons before you jump into that 50th anniversary episode. I mean, in spite of Matt Smith being a hard pill to swallow, I would say that he came in on season 5, right? 5 through 7.
Mm-hmm.
So that whole grand story arc with Amy Pond and Rory and all that stuff, I love that. I love all of that.
I really liked Rory.
Rory, yeah, I love Rory. And
I mean,
I hated Rory because he took my woman away, but. He's
but it was great that it was great that the underdog got the girl.
Yes.
That was awesome.
Yes.
That was awesome. And he also did the most romantic thing.
Dude.
He waited for her for 2,000 years.
Dude, you just gave me chills. Just bring that back up again.
I mean, that's an emotional point for me. I mean, the guy guarded her body for 2,000 years.
I tell you, I love my better half, but 2,000 years.
That's a long time.
Yeah, I mean, do I have board games to play? Maybe. I mean, oof, he was in a cave, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was in a cave in darkness.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. That's just it really gives me chill. I'm not trying to be
That was a
weird,
huge
but
romantic concept. Huge.
it was that was very beautiful. And the thing also I like about their relationship is that it's so real. They argue.
Yeah,
She gets really sassy with him, and he's like, "Oh, I'm done with this woman's crap," and they go through the ups and downs, but at the end of the day, you know that they're just perfect for each other. It doesn't, it's romantic, but it doesn't romanticize it to the point of foolish ideals,
right.
because I hate that whole Disney, everything needs to be perfect, and that perfect someone's out there for me. We're gonna have a huge wedding, and my husband's gonna have this, and that, and blue, and blah blah blah. He's gonna give me this, gonna give me all the things I want. It's like it's too much. This is a relationship that doesn't make you feel like it doesn't give you a toothache. It's
Yeah,
beautiful, but it's not like, yeah, stop it. It doesn't happen like that in real life.
right.
And again, that goes back to what you said. Good science fiction is grounded in reality to some degree.
Right. Hmm.
And you could totally believe Rory and Amy Pond together.
Oh yeah.
Again, I was a little jelly because I was hoping me and her could hook up, but Rory's a good guy, so I can't be mad at him. I know what you're thinking now, Stan. You better hope your wife doesn't listen to this.
Amy's cute.
BFT says, spoil away, never seen Doctor Who. Well, maybe you could join us when we watch together. It's definitely something you want to experience as a community. Like,
Oh
when you
yeah,
have
that
friends,
makes it better.
it does. I mean, I have a friend that, we had a falling out because he got butthurt over something. He didn't like my style of humor. He took it, he's part of the PC police where if you say things that are not completely filtered and you're not 100% literal, he's like, that offends me. I'm out of here. I'm done. But
That's racist.
yeah, that's racist. Like I say, hey, you want a chocolate bar? That's racist. He was one of those guys. I love him to death, but it was like a bad marriage between us. So after being friends since childhood, we just parted ways by his own decision. But before that, we used to do a podcast, and we talked a lot about Doctor Who. And he was one of the main reasons I got even more passionate about it because it's something you really want to enjoy with your friends. Because you're gonna appreciate different aspects of it.
Right.
It's a whole water cooler effect. But definitely with Doctor Who, it's just it's so much better when you can enjoy it with friends. So there's some shows you can enjoy on your own and still have fun with it. But Doctor Who, I don't know. I feel it gets amplified with that community aspect. Right? Yay or nay?
Yeah.
So
Poor. I feel bad for you. I feel bad for our audience. Usually you get some pushback from Obi.
that's true.
I don't give a lot of pushback.
Opie's usually the one that I mainly do podcasting with, but it's a whole different dynamic. On Horseplay, it's all about busting each other's chops and ranting, and we don't have any kind of focus whatsoever. But that's part of what the show is.
It's a fun show.
That's what we do. My kitty's getting up. She wants to get out of her little house. For you guys that don't know, Blue is the mascot, officially of Geeky Antics. She's my kitten. She's awesome. And if you don't like cats, I don't know. The what?
It's a rescue kitten. You rescued her.
She's a rescue kitten, yeah. Yeah. Did you see her when I first got her? Like, she was kind of blind, and she had like that.
Yeah, I saw the picture.
She had the her eyes were cloudy. Yeah. Oh, now she's a fatty. She loves to eat, and she runs around and plays. Oh, guys, you can't stop her. she's a sassy one.
You're gonna get Blue Cam.
I know.
Running.
I know. Don't get me. Let's not get started on that, right?
I know.
But just so everybody knows, Stan was one of the core team members, one of the few core team members, I would say. You know, one of the driving forces of the Geeky Antics Network. Along with me, I'm the founder, but you know, it's a team effort. But again, this is a first date for a lot of people. But Stan donated the cam. Now I just need to get everything else set up. There's some logistics involved with everything. We'll get there. It's gonna be fun. And that'd be a Twitch gimmick. Every good Twitch channel needs a gimmick. You know, some people have boobs, some people have cute cats, cute dogs.
So it all comes down to pussy.
Oh gosh, another edit. Thanks.
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened to me.
Normally, I don't care.
This is not me, man. This is not
I don't
me.
know really. I'm probably just gonna leave this episode as is, and then just going forward.
I'll never live it down.
I mean, I don't think anybody really polices that stuff anyway. I think it's more like if we keep it to a minimum.
Right.
So anyone that's a little bit on the straight and narrow, you know, we apologize. We can get a little sassy sometimes too. I don't know. Maybe I'll edit it post-production for the podcast.
Stan needs to be a little more silent sometimes.
No, it was funny. Cause that was what I was thinking. That's normally a Yomar joke or a Yogi joke. I'll alternate between Yomar and Yogi, by the way, because Stan doesn't like avatars. He likes people to use their real names.
Yes, I do.
But I'm known through all over the interwebs as Yogizilla.
No, I'm cool with that because actually you use Yogizilla with your actual face. So you know, there's a connection there.
And IRL, people call me Yogi as well.
Nothing wrong with that.
Even my family. It's a term of endearment.
Yeah.
But do you hear Blue over there?
Yeah, I do.
Well, let's see. What do we actually have here? So
River Song. You never talked about River Song, Clara.
Oh yeah. That's way down there. Yeah. I'm gonna run through like some of the things we were planning to talk, and then we'll see what we have time to actually talk about as we wrap it up. So it looks like we're actually gonna be a full 2-hour show.
Yeah, that's wild.
Didn't I tell you, dude? It goes by faster than you think. So we're having fun. Once you gain that momentum, you can't stop it, man. But so the thing that one of the questions I have, if anyone knows the answer to this, we might have to go back and do some research or rewatch some episodes. But you know, kind of making sense of the timeline of everything. When does the Doctor actually remember? Spoiler: the fall of Gallifrey. And then this whole time war.
What's Gallifrey, dude?
It's the homeworld.
There you go. Who's homeworld?
The homeworld of the Doctor.
He's an alien.
He's an alien. He is. And fun fact, he has 2 hearts. Though in the novels, he eventually loses one of his hearts because it gets poisoned somehow. It rots somehow. So they pull out of him, and then it makes him lose some of his abilities as a Time Lord. Which is the second heart actually helps the Time Lords metabolize toxins, so they can't get poisoned. Apparently.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, things that they don't really mention on a TV show because they don't want to pigeonhole themselves, I guess. But eventually, that's gonna probably be worked in there. I don't know though. The Doctor with only 1 heart, because a lot of times that's the extra heart has saved him.
But if he regenerates, the second heart should come back.
You found the loophole.
Yeah.
So we kind of talked about already our favorite Doctors of the series. Just to recap, Tom Baker, that's our favorite, right? That's your favorite, Stan?
Agreed.
And we both love Christopher Eccleston, but unfortunately he did not have a chance to really spread his wings.
But you can watch him on Leftovers.
Or Heroes.
Or Heroes.
Or 28 Days Later.
There you go.
He's in a lot of things, apparently. We just, after the fact, we started noticing him. He's a great actor. But yeah, and I think the consensus is that Tennant is like the fan favorite for people that joined after the whole Tom Baker and all the earlier Doctors.
but I don't, I have to say that I saw Tenet and a couple other things, and I don't like him in those other things.
Like the Harry Potter movie.
Yeah, also he played in some spy thing, World War II spy thing,
I
and
recall seeing him, yeah, and a few other
and it
things.
was like, this guy, he's not James Bond, and he's trying to be James Bond, and the Doctor is not James Bond.
You know, the thing I think the reason he worked so well in that role is because he genuinely always dreamt about being the Doctor. That's something he grew up watching, and he felt it in his blood. And I think the only reason he left is because he didn't want to end up like he had the same kind of thing that a lot of other actors do. Like Chris Evans right now, I don't think he wants to do Captain America anymore. I think he has 2 more movies on his contract, and he's probably gonna take a break and probably not ever come back to that role. We don't
Yeah,
know this,
anyway,
huh?
goodbye to him. I want to see Black Captain America. I'm totally into that.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be interesting for sure, and a female Thor, but Michael Keaton. Remember Michael Keaton when he did Batman?
Right.
He didn't want to be known as Batman for the rest of his life. But what has he done after that? you know,
Exactly.
you know. But I can appreciate that. You don't want to be typecasted. You don't want to be identified with a character the rest of your life. But at the same time, it's like, well, I don't know. David Tennant said that he like every time he interviewed, he seemed genuinely really happy about it. You know what? Something else happened. Must have happened there because I remember seeing one interview in particular where they asked him about how he feels about leaving the show, and he actually cried. And that really got to me. And I know he's the actor; he could probably pull that pretty easily, but it felt very real. Like it didn't feel like acting tears. Like he
Another
was
Moffat casualty.
possibly. I mean, gosh, this guy must be a real dildo if that's what's going on, man.
Right.
A dildo we could say.
Yeah.
Kids,
Okay.
don't ask your parents what dildo is. It might possibly be, but I mean, I've seen that
So he was in
video.
how many series? Three?
Oh gosh, let's see. So I guess there was 7 series to date. The 8th
Okay.
season is about to start up this weekend for us. For
Right.
everyone else, it may have already started.
Okay, Peter's going to be the 12th Doctor then.
Peter Capaldi is going to be the 12th Doctor. No, no, wait, the 13th. No,
I don't
10th,
think
11th,
I
12th.
don't think they're counting the War Doctor.
No, the War Doctor was definitely the 9th.
Okay.
Because they've said in the synopsis and the recaps that the 9th Doctor passes on his leather coat to the 10th Doctor, which is Eccleston. Then we have
Okay.
11th Doctor. So one out of 7 seasons was Eccleston. So we have 6 seasons left over. I'm pretty sure Matt Smith did 3 seasons, and so I think it's 50-50.
Okay.
So 3 seasons each. That sounds about right
That
to me.
that's not a lot.
It's not,
I
but
mean, so that's not really pigeonholing your career. I mean, if you did it for 7, 8 seasons, okay, fine. That you'll never be anything else, which is not a bad thing, but
I mean, there's people that all they've ever had is like one big role, and they just learn to embrace it.
right.
They create fan sites. They support the fan fiction and the conventions and all that stuff. They make appearances. They do book tours. It's a living. What's so wrong with that?
Right.
you
Unless the
know,
BBC doesn't pay well.
yeah, that might be that might be part
Is
of
that
it,
why we're hiring British actors for The Walking Dead?
dude. Yeah, that
They're affordable.
I think there's only one American on The Walking Dead. Everyone else is British or Canadian.
Right.
Sup, Benson? Welcome to the show. This is our pilot episode. Timey-Wimey Tea Time. We're talking about Doctor Who. If you like Doctor Who, let us know. And I think we're getting some tweets too, but I can't really check them right now. Oh, yeah, there's all kinds of stuff coming up in the feed here. I have to check it after the fact. We're getting some response, it looks like. But
Nice.
yeah, we probably should wrap this up soon. We got Good 15 minutes left. I could always trim it down if we need to. But for those that check us out on YouTube or Twitch, you'll get the full extended cut, the uncut version, as I like to call it. So what else do we have here that we were? Most of this is gonna be like a preview of what to expect in upcoming episodes, and a lot of people.
You gotta talk about Jack Harkness. Sorry, man.
We do. Okay. That one we could definitely do, because we kind of went off on a random that when we were pre-gaming. Dude, we pre-gamed for like on and off. We kept talking on the phone for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
And we kept going off to do other things, but I just looked at the time like, wow, okay, good old Skype. It's like, oh, I'm gonna put you on hold for now. 2 hours later, what's up? Yeah, family calls. But
Jack.
All right. Well, before we jump into Jack, I want to set up the set stage for what else is coming up. Because if I skip too far ahead, I may forget altogether. But for those that we're leading up to season 8, this is pretty much our season 8 countdown. And actually I put the 12th Doctor, but this is the 13th Doctor, the Peter Capaldi Doctor. One of the big things about this, and this will lead into the Jack Harkness talk, is that this is a non-flirty Doctor. This is a back-to-business Doctor, like the older Doctors that we've grown accustomed to for us old folks, those old farts.
One season. A one-season Doctor.
Well, I'm talking about before 2005.
No, I know. I'm saying if...
Oh,
there's a
gosh.
good chance that we're gonna reject him,
dude. You think? Wow, that's kind of brutal.
He's got a hard act to follow, because if he's gonna bring that seriousness, he's got to do it in a new way.
And not to mention, Tennant and Matt Smith both had David Tennant and Matt Smith both had like their own groupies, because they had these boyish good looks. Yeah, women are into that thing now. It's like older men that look like little boys. Like, okay, sure. But another thing is, I was kind of hoping that Clara was going to be a more pivotal character, and they would develop her further, because I was kind of really getting into her. And I've seen a lot of the fans not really digging Clara. Like, there's a lot of hate towards Clara and Rose, which is interesting. Towards Martha and River Song, even Donna, I don't see nearly as much hate, which is very strange. But
are you gonna go there? Don't go
no,
there. Don't go there, man.
I'm not gonna go there. But
let Donna be Donna.
I like Donna.
Just love her, dude. Just love her, please. Just love her.
Honestly, I would hug her. I would share my popcorn with her.
Okay.
But every now and
you're not gonna play footsie with her.
But I might play footsie with her if she does her feet. I don't know. I have a feeling her feet may not be very well kept. Her character. I'm not talking about the actress. It's the character. But once she starts getting loud, I'm gonna turn the volume up on the TV or put the headphones on, which I already do anyway. So that's all I'm saying. But yeah, so anyway, there's word on the street that Clara may not even make it to season 8, and if she does, she may only have a few episodes, and then they might have Chris Addison come in as a male companion.
Yeah.
So this is the segue to what you really want to talk about, which is Jack Harkness, Captain Jack.
Captain Jack, man.
And by far, I would say top 3 easily favorite characters for Doctor Who fans.
He competes with Doctor Who. He
does. He takes away a lot of the focus from Doctor Who. Like, when he's on the scene, it's like it's all about him. The actor who portrays Jack actually John Barrowman, he's American, and he's a national treasure in the UK apparently.
That's amazing. Yeah,
they love him. But no,
because I don't know, he brings a presence that's exciting. It pops.
Yeah, and this goes against everything we've said to date. Well, on this episode especially.
And he's pretty.
He's pretty. He is very pretty. I gotta say, I feel a little gay looking at him.
You mean you'll let him buy you a drink?
You know, it's like one of those things where it's like your better half checks him out, and you're like, I'll allow it because I'm doing the same thing. You know, like you can't get mad at it. Like there's some people you're like, really? That's what you're looking at? Ew, I'm better looking than that. You know, I can't get offended. I mean, it's John Barrowman, and you know, but it's not just his looks. I mean, that helps, but he's just got so much charisma. He plays the part so well, and
He
that
does. He does. It's amazing.
yeah. And the thing is, he's not the gay character or the bisexual character that throws it in your face or is so flamboyant that you're like, oh God, stop! You made your point already. You know, he's actually, it's so subtle and so classy. It's like reality and not like this. Let's exaggerate this so you know for a fact this is what he is and this is why we have him in here. Like he doesn't feel shoehorned in there just to pander and be more politically correct and appease everybody. You know?
Right. He, they did some good character development, but I guess, John as an actor just is phenomenal.
He is.
He brings that boyish adventurous, enthusiasm. I mean, it's there's that light in his eyes. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. He always got that little twinkle.
Yeah.
You would think they just CG it in there, but that's just him. It's great, and there was a quote that I was reading. I think it was on the Screen Rant. I got a little snippet of it, but what did it say? I'm just trying to read the part that really matters. But he goes, unlike virtually every other TV sci-fi character, leader or supporting, Captain Jack is also openly bisexual. Ironically, this small change served to help make the science fiction genre long long the ultimate bastion of straight men, accessible not just to the LGBT people, but also who also enjoy the show's alternate take on sexuality. See, women do like that the taboos of sexuality and the alternate takes. I noticed that. Well, us men, we get a little uncomfortable with some taboo stuff. It's like, oh, I don't know, it's a little risque. No thanks. But anyway, they all go on to say that blah, blah, blah. He won an award. He won awards for Torchwood, which is funny because a lot of fans of Doctor Who say that the Jack portrayed in Torchwood is not nearly as good as the Jack portrayed on Doctor Who. I don't see it, but there's a slight difference. In Torchwood, he's a little more serious, less of a boyish adventurer.
He
But
doesn't need to be.
it doesn't need to be, you think?
Well, I mean, with Doctor Who, I mean, Doctor Who is the primary, so he doesn't need to be the stuff, the hot shot.
Well, that's what they're saying. They're saying that he's more of a standout character on the Doctor Who series than he was in Torchwood.
Well, he is a contrast to Doctor Who, and like I said, he competes with Doctor Who.
Yeah, he has that competitive nature with him.
Right.
He really goes out of his way to compete, not just
So there's a tension between them, and
yeah,
that's a little exciting.
yeah. So they go on to say in this quote that Torchwood was not only revolutionary. By the way, Torchwood is a spin-off of Doctor Who, which talks more about if it's hard to describe. It's a supernatural contingency plan research homeland security type division of the government that operates in the shadows, and they protect against all kinds of weird contingencies like alien invasions and vampires and whatever else. Things that Captain Jack has been made privy to because of his adventures with the Doctor, traveling all over through space and time.
And he was a time agent,
And he was a time agent himself, yes.
Right.
Yes. Though he did spend a very good amount of time through World War II era, was it?
Yeah, that's how he started off. So he was a pilot.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Oh, my voice just totally cracked. Keep some water handy, folks, when you're podcasting.
There you go. How are we for time?
We got about 10 minutes. Like I said, I can always trim it down, but we'll wrap up with Jack, and then we'll definitely come back to this. But So the quote also goes on to say that Torchwood is revolutionary not just because the producers dare to put an openly bisexual, or in case of in Jack's case, omnisexual, or would that be pansexual? Who knows anymore? Character, it puts them in a formerly sacrosanct setting of sci-fi. It also it's also that it presents these bisexual characters in such an amazingly matter-of-fact way. Bingo, they nailed it there.
Right.
That's what I agree. I agree most of it, not all of it. I don't agree that sci-fi has been exclusive and not very welcoming to gays, lesbians, bisexual, transsexuals. I think that's a bunch of crap or whatever. Because us minorities, we find a way to get into whatever we want. We don't care what the rules are. We'll enjoy it for what it is. Unless
Right.
the only people that couldn't get into it are the people that feel like they have to have their essence all over it. Like, why? A great character is a great character, regardless of race, creed, color, sexuality. Who cares? I don't care. Or maybe I care a little bit.
Well, yeah. If the story is good, the story is good.
Yeah,
That's what you're saying.
exactly. But I agree with that last statement is that it is presented. The fact that he's bisexual is presented in such a matter of fact way. They're not shoving it down your throat. It's just kind of like, oh, it's here, it's there, but I'm not reminding you of it constantly. And it becomes fun in that aspect, whether you agree with that lifestyle or not. There's no apologizing. As they say, there's no apologizing. There's no minimizing. No moralizing.
But it's not promoting it either.
Exactly.
So he is what he is.
Yeah, and they do
And
it from a good. It's just old, like they said in the article too. It's a good old-fashioned romance and adventure. That's nice. Now, Torchwood did take it a little further because there was some parts where it was just like really steamy kissing and grinding. Now, like, oh, okay, now this is turning to a homoerotic film. I might draw the line there. And Captain Jack, feeling the void left by the Doctor and not seeing him for a long time. With the whole Torchwood series, that's one of the underlying themes. It's like he misses the Doctor, and that's kind of why he's kind of a stick in the mud now. But he's still great. I still love him. But he has his boy toy. Basically his assistant / boy toy. It's great. But oh gosh, he's such a freaking manslaughter on that show. It's terrible. But it's still portrayed to a degree where it's kind of like innocent, and it doesn't become the center point, the focal point. I think that's important. But it's great. Jack has permeated all other like mediums and pop culture. He's appeared on other, like, people have cosplayed him. He showed, like, there's characters that have been inspired by him in comics and on TV shows. So with that kind of pervasive of a character, and the fact that he's one of the main reasons Doctor Who has been so well received and it's gotten the ratings, you can't stop Doctor Who now. I think the momentum's really there. It's here to stay now. For the foreseeable future, at least.
yeah, that's great.
But I wonder if this means we'll see a Torchwood returning, or at least Captain Jack returning to Doctor Who.
I don't know. I'd like to see Captain Jack all by himself. So give him Torchwood.
I just hate where they went with that. I wish that they would just take it like it wasn't canceled. It's just in limbo, and Russell T Davies talking about it could come back in like 10, 20 years because he's busy with Aliens versus Wizards or whatever.
Does he own it, or does BBC own it?
He must be entangled with it somehow. I don't know
Uh-huh.
what the deal is with that. But if they could just release that to someone else that's capable, Moffat's probably got his plate full. I'm sure
20
someone.
years is way too long.
Yeah, that's crazy.
10 years is too long. I mean, I wouldn't let this go more than a couple years because then we'll lose a sense of who Captain Jack is.
Exactly. They gotta incubate that character at least. It's such a good
Yes.
character, let it go to waste. So I would hope that, hell, I wouldn't even care if they kind of rebooted that and went in a whole different direction. They went down a very dark place. Like Torchwood to me, Torchwood felt like the show that they could play with and do really ballsy things just because they could. It's much darker and morbid and just WTF at every step of the way. Like, did that just happen? No. No, it didn't. No. Oh, God, it did. You know, Doctor Who still, even for like some of the darker story arcs, like the Weeping Angels and whatnot, it's still pretty lighthearted for the most part.
That's what's missing for
The
me
Fire and
from,
Brimstone.
from the new Doctor Who. The old Doctor Who, they could get really deep and serious and dark, and you could feel it. You don't have that. You don't have that. Even with Weeping Angels, you don't have that.
The fear in the
The
Doctor's
fear,
eyes.
yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Hmm. Some food
They
for
could,
thought there.
yeah, they could go with that.
The thing is, are people ready for that?
Probably not.
Like, I have a tough enough time with
With
a doc.
social media.
Yeah, dude. Well, I have a hard enough time with the Doctor being feeling somewhat inept at times. And I don't know if it's because it's emotional turmoil or they're purposely writing him that way so they could give other characters more of a lead role. Like there's this whole thing, we're gonna get to this in the future, but like there's been a lot of discussion about whether does Doctor Who need a strong female lead, and with that people are saying, oh, the Doctor. It's already been said that the Doctor could regenerate as a woman. Why hasn't he? And the feminists are pushing for that. It's like, well, we've had strong female leads, and I'm not talking about River Song, because as we'll discuss in future episodes, she's a great character, but they tried way too hard with her, and by trying to make her too strong, they actually made her quite a weak character. Same with Donna. Donna was loud; she wasn't strong. If
Right.
anything, you could say Martha was the strongest character, because or Amy Pond really. But both of them chose to walk away, even though they felt the loyalty to the Doctor. They had their own, they had their own calling, and they moved on.
And that's a strength.
That's their strength exactly. People confuse strength with just being a total bitch.
Right.
A bitch we could say.
Manipulative.
Yeah, like strength is not about being fearless or just being really strong-willed or hard-headed with other people. Just being
It's not,
caustic.
yeah, so strength is not about controlling other people. That's what you want to say, right?
Yeah, overall. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Dan. You summed it up quite well. I guess I wasn't reaching my main theme. What's the point? Oh,
Hey
you're
man,
killing me.
that's what bros are for.
Yeah, bro. But by the way, it won't always be bros. We definitely would love to have anyone and everyone that loves Doctor Who, especially if you have the female persuasion, because yeah, there's it's predominantly male voices in the podcast world. We don't want it to be that way.
No,
We,
definitely not.
we have a lot of female contributors on our network, but it's really hard for most of them to get into a schedule for podcasting. So that's the challenge we have to overcome. So if you're interested, let us know. But so back to Jack. Great character. I mean, there's so much we can say about it. We're gonna come back to that because there's a lot of things that tie into Captain Jack. I mean, the whole discussion about strong female lead. Well, are we talking about gender or gender role?
Right.
I mean, he has some feminine qualities, right?
Now he does.
Well, there were times where he was very dominant. There was times when he was
Right.
submissive. And I'm not saying that's the automatic gender association or posture or whatever, but there's tendencies within gender roles.
So it would not, I say it would be nice to see a female Time Lord that's not the Doctor. And there's lots of material for them to do that with.
And it's been done. There's precedence with it too, isn't there?
Yeah, there is with the Corsair. I don't know if that's more fan fiction than it is a part of the official literature. But I mean, there's definitely a place because the Corsair in the storyline, was a female, in some of the regenerations. So there's room for that, and that would be great, you know. And that doesn't have to compete with the Doctor and take away from the Doctor. They could even do a spin-off.
Yeah, that's not the what is it, Sarah Jane Chronicles?
No, 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 no. That's Sarah James is like Captain Kangaroo.
I still want to see it. I still be meaning to watch this. 'Cause I'm
I
wondering
hear
just how
you.
terrible it could possibly be.